Hello everyone, welcome to Wildwood Lavender Farm. My name is Carrie. Today I wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of the farm just to kind of show you some of the things we've been working on and to show you all the plants that have been blooming and just making things so pretty around here. Beautiful spring day. I am loving it. I am wearing shorts and t-shirts instead of long pants and long sleeve shirts. So tired of those. Ready for spring, ready for summer. So anyway, let's take you on a tour and we'll show you just all the things we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. So you may recall from a couple of videos of ours that we have gotten French Angora rabbits to add to our farm. And when we first brought them home, they were set up in our shop just on the floor because we didn't really have a good place to put them quite yet. So we built this temporary shelter for them. Actually, the shelter was already here. This is part of a kind of equipment gardening tool shed that is right by our root cellar, right outside our house. It has an open wall right there, but it has side walls, back wall, ceiling on it, so they're fairly protected from the sun and from the wind. The wind blows that way mostly. Sometimes we get it coming this way, so I have to put up a little wind block for them. But for the most part, they're nice and sheltered in here. They're in a mostly fenced-in yard, so the predators could still get to them, but it's not as likely. And so they're just in a nice sheltered place here close by where I can keep an eye on them. And right now they each are, the bucks are in their own cages. The ladies over here, they're still sharing a cage, but when we build a more permanent home for them, they'll be in a larger space together. So all I did for in here was I cleaned it out. There are some garden tools and stuff in here, so I just cleaned those out. And then we had these cinder block type things lined up along our fence back between the creek and the fence, because I think the previous owners were using them to cut off the under the fence access to any critters wanting to come into the yard. And so there's just a whole bunch of these lined up along the fence. The critter issue doesn't bother me if we get critters in through the fence there underneath or whatever. So I was able to get enough of these blocks to build a little stand for the cages to sit on so that they're not sitting on the ground. We could have put hooks on the wall, I've seen, where you can hang the cages on there, but didn't want to have to do that. These are materials that we had on hand. So this is what we've done with the bunnies so far. I'll go show you now where their more permanent home is going to be and what our plans are for that area. So this is the area where we're going to bring the bunnies to, right in here. But you can see it's right next to the chicken coop. We have the chickens over there, and then of course their chicken yard goes all the way around and outside the barn. So the chicken coop is right there, so they'll be butted up against the wall there. So this green fence that you see here, or green gate, whatever they're called, it had been up against here as a fence type thing. So we've taken that down, and then I'll show you what we've done in here. So this area right here is where we're going to put the bunnies in a more permanent home. We had lots of pallets on the ground over here, and then we had alfalfa or hay bales on top of them that the guy who had his horses here, he had all those hay bales stored in this area to feed his horses during the winter. He left some of the bales here. They weren't the best quality. We're just going to use them for like putting around the trees as mulch or in the garden. The chickens like to scratch through it too. So anyway, we moved all the hay out. There was probably about 3 or 4 bales worth of loose hay and a couple full bales. So we moved all those out. We stacked up the pallets over there. We'll be using those for different projects. And then this is all nice and cleaned out now to use. So what we're going to do is right here is where the chicken coop ends. And there's a post right here that's a support for the roof. So we'll likely use this support that matches up with the support over there and get this area closed off from that area there. And then in the front, we might leave it open, but we might also put in like a half wall and some netting or a hardware cloth up top just to give them a little bit more security, because it is more likely that more predators could get them in here than where they are currently. So we'll get this area closed off. We'll build some nice cages, nice bigger spaces for them to be in, and just kind of have this all set up as a hutchery for them. Now this is the other corner of the hutchery, and right now it's just some plywood that's not attached very well to some long boards, and this is actually a door that opens up, although those bars stay, or these planks don't move. It's like, hello. So we will likely be redoing this wall, and what I would like to do is there's another portion right here, another stall if you will, and I would like to kind of open it up, or at least provide a door over in here somewhere, and maybe kind of plant this up or fix this up as an outdoor area for the bunnies. So I could, you know, plant some chard and other rabbit-friendly foods in this area and just give them a nice exercise area. So that's my idea with this. We do have a water faucet right there and electric right there. So I have an outdoor sink that we can use with the hose to it. Just put it right here so that I can have water for both the chickens and the rabbits. And speaking of chickens, I haven't updated you on our baby chicks for quite some time. Here are our 14 baby chicks that my friend gave us after they hatched them last December. I actually need to be moving them in with the other bigger chickens soon, because this space is just getting a little crowded for 14 bigger chickens. So anyway, I'm thinking roosters is half and half, like this guy right here is a rooster. He's coming at me. Yeah, I don't think so, mister. I don't think so. This one right here, oops, love the colors. That's always been one of my favorites. And now I'm gonna chase him. And the rooster's chasing me. Yes, look at you. Aren't you pretty? Aren't you just pretty? Yeah, you're not so bold when I'm coming for you, huh? Anyway, I think we might about be half and half when it comes to hens and roosters in here. Oh, you're so pretty. Yeah, I think you're a rooster too, but your feathers are so iridescent purple. So I've gotten most of our trees planted. There's like 3 more trees that I need to plant yet. One is a paper birch, one is a pie cherry that I brought with me from our old house, just a little seedling that I had sprung up. I dug it up and brought it, and then an old-fashioned lilac. And then I also got a mulberry tree, but it's too small to plant, and I also have an olive tree, but it is also too small to plant outside. But all the other trees I have planted, including my sugar maple. I planted this sugar maple right here by the chicken coop and the rabbit hutchery to just kind of give some shade to this area during the summertime. And we'll see if maybe someday I can tap this maple tree for syrup, but it's obviously quite skinny yet, quite small, and it'll be a little while before I can start tapping it. All right, let's go on a walkabout and I'll show you all the trees that I planted just real quick. Not gonna really talk about them, I'll just show you how they're growing. Some of them are blooming, some of them are leafing out, so we'll just go on a quick walkabout. Right here, I'm standing beside the Japanese weeping cherry tree that we planted several weeks ago. It's doing nicely. It is growing. It's had a couple small blooms here and there. Not much, of course, rather expected for its first year. But it is actually right on the fence line for the back fence of the hay pasture that used to be here. That is no longer here. We've taken most of the fencing down. That was one of our farm goals, to remove a lot of the fencing that was around the property. So there was a almost 2-acre hayfield, about a 1 3/4 acre hayfield that was entirely fenced in. We have most of that fence entirely down now. There's a small portion down there that still needs to come down. And there are a couple other areas that we still want to remove the fencing, but for the most part, that goal is about 75% done as far as removing the fences. So let's go take a look now in the lower pasture and show you the trees down there. Before we head down to the lower pasture, I thought I'd stop by and see how my truffle pecan trees are doing. They don't show a lot of signs of life yet. I hope I didn't wait too long to get them in the ground. They're pretty spendy trees. I would hate to have to buy some more. But yeah, they're really not showing a lot of signs of life right now. The bottom parts of the trunks are still, I think, viable, still green. Oh, they're still green there. So still some hope. Maybe they're just kind of late bloomers as far as leaves are concerned. They're not the only ones that don't have leaves yet, so I'm not giving up hope on them yet. My truffle pecans, you might notice, they're a bit farther away from other trees. Most of my food forest trees are up there. And then I have some room here. I'll actually be getting some oak trees that are inoculated with a white Italian truffle. And so they're gonna go in this area. And the reason for that is their root systems need to be kept away from other tree root systems whose microzobial rhizomes, whatever, on their root systems might interrupt the truffle microsomes. I can't even think of the name right now. Anyway, on these root systems. So it's generally the accepted practice to plant them where there aren't other trees, where other trees' roots have been. So anyway, just wanted to stop and check on the truffle pecans, and we'll just have to wait and see if they're gonna bud out with leaves here soon. So where I am right now, there's a little road that comes down this way into the lower pasture. We need to start calling it the blueberry patch or something because it's not a pasture anymore. But behind me here there's a slope, and up there is the hayfield, was the hayfield, and part of the pasture up there. That's where a lot of my fruit trees are that we just went through. And so there's this slope, and then behind you guys is the marshy area. So this area is kind of its own separate little section. And I felt as I was walking down here a couple weeks ago to plant the rest of these trees down here that this space needed a tree. So I grabbed one of my apple trees and stuck it in right here. So it's going to be a nice little area. Of course, once we get this area cleared out here, it'll be more part of that, the blueberry patch area. But for now, it's just nice to have this fruit tree right here where before there wasn't really much of anything. So let's go take a look at the other trees and everything that is planted down here in the blueberry patch. Hey, Puggers, you're in the way. I know you don't care. You. Okay, so down here with the blueberries, I just wanted to show you what... Hello, how are you? I'm talking here, you know. Can you go find something to do? Find a bird to chase or something? I wanted to show you what it is that we're going to be doing for the most part whenever we plant stuff in here, is to put mulch, wood chips around all of the plants. Eventually it's just all going to be either ground cover plants, bushes, or just wood chips covering the ground. So, you know, we have the blueberry here, and then I laid down some cardboard. I don't know if you can see it here, probably not, maybe a little. Laid down cardboard all around it, and then I lay down the mulch over the cardboard. And the cardboard helps cut down the grass and weeds, so it's going to keep this pasture grass from growing wherever we have the cardboard and the wood chips. So eventually, you know, we'll replace all this grass with either plants or the cardboard wood chips mix. And eventually, except for in areas where we actually want it, all this grass will be gone. So that's the plan, and I've been working at this. I worked some yesterday over there, and this part was done a couple weeks ago. So we'll just do kind of a walkabout down here as well and show you the trees that I have planted here, because I haven't really shown you all the trees that we have here. You have seen them in my other videos when I talk about what trees that we have for the food forest and otherwise, but you know, just as where we planted them. And there are a couple trees down here that I haven't talked about yet, and so we'll talk about those and then do the walkabout. This tree right here is one we brought from our other house. It's a mystery plant, just kind of popped up somewhere, and I don't even know what it is. Looking at the leaves, it could be apple, but it also kind of looks like cherry. So we planted it, or I planted it, just as a kind of a, let's see what it grows into. And if it's nothing really useful, then we've grown some firewood. So not sure what this one is. I haven't seen blooms on it. So I really can't say if it's even a fruit tree. It does look like a fruit tree leaf, is all I can say. But as far as whether or not it produces fruit yet, I don't know. This is the other mystery tree that I've brought from our other house. This one was found growing next to our peach tree that we had there, near our rhubarb plant. And I have no idea what kind it is. It's almost 6 feet tall, but it did actually bloom this year. And its blooms almost look like apple blossoms, and the leaves almost look like apple leaves. It could possibly be a plum. I don't know, but it does seem to be a fruiting tree. So if these blossoms were pollinated, I guess we'll be seeing here soon what kind of fruit this is. But again, it was a mystery. Just brought it over, decided to plant it to see what it was. This back property, there's a nursery, and it's quite busy here with all their employees running back and forth. You've probably seen or heard their little vehicles running along this road here. So I want to put up a privacy hedge. Of course, I want it to be either food producing or bringing beneficial birds and insects, or something that we can use to make money from. So here, this is where we've put the golden corkscrew willow, one there and then one further down there. And then we have a pussy willow and then a couple of the almonds. And then I'll be getting some other hedge plants and stuff to put along here as well. Now you can see there's quite a difference or distance between here and the fence. That's because these can, I think, have a 15-foot spread once they're full grown. And while I want to have a privacy hedge, I also don't want to encroach on their, you know, to go over their fence line. I don't want to have my plants getting in their way. So I'm trying to plant things far enough out that they won't be of hindrance to them. So anyway, these are blooming, or not blooming, but budding out with leaves quite nicely. And I love the color of the bark on this. It's really pretty. So anyway, just a quick walk down here to show you where these are. So here's the pussy willow right here. It's already got some nice leaves on it. Probably about almost 6 feet tall, not quite. And then this is coming up here. This is one of the Texas Mission almonds. None of my almond trees are leafing out right now, and I don't know if these are dead. Looks like that might be some new growth, but that's dead. I don't know. Well, this is going to be another wait and see, like the pecan trees, whether or not these are going to be alive or not. So here we have the other golden corkscrew willow. And then over here is where we have the other Texas Mission almond. And it just doesn't seem to have any signs of life. So we'll have to keep an eye on them and see if they bud out or not. The bark down here certainly looks still alive. It's got a nice reddish hue to it. Doesn't look very dead. But these out here, you know, they seem quite dead, but we'll see. All right, so that's it for the blueberry patch down here as far as what we've been doing. Let's go on up and we'll show you some of the other stuff that's happening. You can just see our turtle popping up out of the white tub there. She has a brick that she can get on to be up and out of the water, and she's out getting some sun right now. I'll try to get closer, but she usually jumps back into the water once she sees somebody coming. Oh, there she goes. I'm here next to my no-till garden. Haven't done too much in this area except some cleanup, and then I did get a couple things planted. This was kind of the dumping grounds for all the small branches and limbs from the black locust tree that we cut down. And so this is going to be a chore to clean up. We also, when we raked up all the leaves and stuff from our maple trees out front, this was where we put all of them, just to kind of create some compost and also to cut down on the weeds here. So I'll just take you on a quick run through the no-till garden to show you what's been coming up, what I've planted. So you can see these limbs and stuff kind of getting to my way of access from this part, which is right off of the house. So normally I have to walk around this mess now. I'm gonna walk over it though because I want to get to my fig tree, which I was hoping would survive the winter. I had put a cover on it, a bag that's supposed to protect it from the frost, but I don't think it survived. But I'm just noticing we have a start coming up from the roots. So it didn't die completely, it just died back to the roots. What I was trying to do though was to keep it from dying all the way back so that we can actually get some fruit this year. We have a bunch of, I think this is garlic and chives in through here. We have a lavender plant here. Rhubarb is growing full force. So I think I'm going to be offering some rhubarb for sale here soon. These crowns are actually quite large and I really need to break them up, divide them up, and then I'll have a lot more rhubarb to plant elsewhere. But look at these stalks. They're like huge. So I've got lots of rhubarb to harvest there because that's just one of 4 plants. Looks like the sagebrush lasted through the winter, or the sage, not sagebrush, just sage. Got onions popping up all throughout there. Second rhubarb plant. Strawberries are blooming nicely. They need to be watered though. Lots of blossoms. You can see through there, there's a lot of weeds in the rows, the walking paths. So I've been needing to get to that, but lots of chard still growing, onions, garlic, leeks, all growing there. I think arugula perhaps there. So lots of stuff coming up from seed. Now this is a wonderful trough that's in here, and I think it just had strawberries at some point. You can see there's some growing in here. And I think a lot of the strawberries escaped and didn't leave so many in there. It was filled with weeds when we moved in here, and I tried to clean a lot of it out. And I got some Molokai sweet potatoes. They're a purple potato. And then some Japanese, pumpkin yam. I think pumpkin yam sweet potatoes down there. 3 of each. So gonna give sweet potatoes a try. I think these are a shorter growth, so they might actually produce for us. We typically don't have a long enough growing period for sweet potatoes, but we're gonna give those a try. I got those from Baker Creek. They came the other day. There's even some garlic growing in there. I left it. So this is cabbage that has gone to seed, or going to seed. It's flowering right now. So I thought I'd let that kind of do its thing. This is a honeyberry bush. Looks like it's getting some buds and gonna bloom here soon. A lot of trash, garbage, stuff that needs to be taken to the compost pile so that I can plant things here. I do like to leave things in the winter, throughout the winter, just to kind of put a few nutrients back into the ground. But come springtime, I need to clean it up so that I can plant more things. A lot of weeds in through here, but obviously weeds that the bees love. There's bees flying all over the place here. So I have been pulling a lot of these weeds up, but haven't gotten to them all, and I don't mind leaving some for the bees to eat until there is an abundance of other flowers for them to feed off of. But yeah, there's just a whole bunch of them here. Here's looks like kohlrabi, I think, is going to seed. Gotta fix my way through the weeds here. Yeah, just lots of chard, leeks, onions, garlic. I think this is a lemon balm. Something like that anyway. Smells lemony. This is the 3rd rhubarb. So lots of rhubarb coming in already. So this is what's going on in the no-till garden. Let me take you down the creek and show you the other garden. Just walking down here, here's the no-till garden here, and then we have this creek here, and this is just the pathway with lovely carpet there. But even on this side, we have some chard growing up right here. Down here a little further, we have some onions just growing up here by the creek side. I love it. This is the kind of thing I want to see, is just food plants growing all over the place. So we come here around the corner of the no-till garden. Here is the 4th rhubarb plant that was here. Now those bricks, or those concrete or cement blocks that I got for the rabbits, they were all lined up along the fence here, just all the way over here, and then down this fence. And as I was working in this area, I was pulling out weeds and stuff, cleaning this up, and I noticed these are peonies growing here. There's three peony plants that I didn't see last year because I think they were just done blooming. Maybe even done growing by the time that we had died. You know, they had died off by the time we bought the house. So you can see they're about to bloom. So I have I uncovered 3 peony plants, those 2, and then this one right here. So that was an exciting find to get those. And then we have a lot of this plant growing all over the place. I was trying to figure out what they were. I had a feeling I should know what they are. And then I was showing the place to a friend and they're like, oh, those are poppies. So lots of poppies coming up. So let's go ahead and cross the creek. And the greenhouse I'll show you later. Got some stuff going on in there. And so here we go. The raspberries are looking great. Lots of greenery. Not seeing any blossoms yet. Oh, hold on. Look at that. We're gonna start seeing some raspberries soon. That's exciting. All right. Can't wait. Oh, let me show you over here. Our garlic is growing very nicely. Some of it is still quite small, right here, there, but the other kinds are getting nice and thick. Hey there, Pugsley. So it needs to be weeded in here, but the garlic is growing nice. Down here, the artichokes are doing well, growing nicely. And down here, I cut out all the corn stalks that were here. Still working on these berry vines. I did come through and prune quite a bit. I think I'm just gonna kind of prune them all back and just maybe not worry about them so much this year. Kind of frustrated at the whole vine thing because, I mean, these vines some of them are like 20 feet long. So they kind of got out of hand, and I'm just gonna cut them back as much as I can this year and not worry about it. And you can see I did here a big pile of cuttings right here that I still need to take to the compost bin. Over here, I need to get the black caps trained up. I was gonna do that the other day, but then neighbor set these sprinklers going and it's spraying right there, so I couldn't stand out here and do that. But the other thing I wanted to show you over here is that our onions here that we planted are doing okay. I haven't been able to get water on them as much as I would have liked, and we haven't had very much rain, so they are growing. They just don't look the best right now. But I did get to the store and I bought 2 more packs, so I have doubled the amount of onions that we are growing now. So lots of onions. Well, thank you for joining us on the spring tour of our farm. What's been happening here, projects we're working on, plants we've been planting, what's been growing, and what we've been finding. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.